Hey, Lucky. Figured if you're gonna grill me about Sonny and Johnny, I should be well caffeinated.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't take too long. Look, I realize that you're loyal to Johnny. At least right now. Loyal to his money. Which means you probably already told me everything you're gonna tell me, but...
Yeah, great. So we're all done here?
No, we haven't even started. I need more insight as to how exactly Sonny came to shoot Johnny, because I still think it's a little odd that Johnny was out in public unarmed. I mean, he's a mob boss. He knows better.
You know, Lucky, you're absolutely right. Johnny should have been armed. Especially considering everything that's been going on between him and Sonny. It's been escalating for months now. You know, Johnny blames Sonny for killing Claudia. Sonny blames Johnny for making Christina think he's abusive. I mean, it's definitely gotten personal. So, now are we done?
No, I got a few more questions for you, but this is as a brother, not as a cop.
It's even worse. Okay, fire away.
What are you gonna do if Johnny doesn't make it? Or even if he does? Because if you were planning to keep your spot as his right-hand man, I'm telling you, Ethan, I don't think you're gonna be able to fly under the radar for too much longer, and I don't know if you understand the kind of heat that's in that furnace.
You're asking if I'm gonna leave the mob? Maybe. But if you expect me to change into some kind of law-abiding citizen, it's never gonna happen. You know, I have to admit, it is such a shame, you and me being on opposite sides of the law.
You can always become a cop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Although, the idea of having a badge, in all the ways one could misuse it, it's a little enticing.
I'm sure it is.
I just can't believe you did it, mate. You know, I've never been able to walk a straight line, you know, even before I found out Luke was my dad.
It's not all about, you know, mindless rules and regulations. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that.
Right, I'm sure there is. But do you ever, you know, miss coloring outside the lines? I mean, I've seen you in action, mate. All your little disguises. You know, you've got talent. And it's a shame, it is a shame to waste it on law and order. I mean, just imagine if you gave free rein to all your Spencer instincts. I mean, the things you get away with. I mean, you can get away with
murder? I think I'll pass.
No, I don't mean that, okay? I stay away from violence anyway.
Right, you're a lover, not a fighter.
Yes!
And you seriously, you need a new line, by the way. Please. It's time.
Okay, all right, fine. I'll work on that, okay? You know, if you ever do get fed up with all this, you let me know, okay? I mean, imagine the Spencer brothers, the sons of Luke working together. I mean, the possibilities, man, they're endless.
Floor room 614. Code grade 6th floor room 614.
Hey. Any change?
He's still critical.
Well, you know, Johnny's tough. We'll pull through. Just have a little faith.
I'm trying. I'm just mad at myself. You said if I kept pretending to date Johnny, somebody was going to get killed. And now look what's happened. Johnny's fighting for his life, and my dad's been arrested for attempted murder, and it's all because of me.
No, Christina. No, it's not. All right? You can't blame yourself for this. Okay, that's the last thing Johnny would want. And I can tell you, it's Johnny being in that bed. It's just as much his fault as it is Sonny's.
Sounds like you're defending my dad.
No, I wouldn't go that far. All I'm saying is that Sonny and Johnny have a deep-seated hatred for each other.
Yeah, but my dad pulled the trigger. Johnny wasn't even carrying a gun.
Okay, between you and me, I don't know if that's true. And even if it was, it's not your job to judge or police your father. You know, nobody is all bad, not even Sonny. People can do bad things, okay, but they can have some pretty decent moments too. I mean, look at me. I think I'm a pretty good example of that.
Yeah, right. You're nothing like my dad. Or Johnny.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you think so highly of me. But truth is, I'm a con man, right? And a thief. And I've hurt a lot of people over the years. But it doesn't make me totally irredeemable, right?
Nice try. But I know you're a genuinely good guy. And no matter how hard you try not to be, you've seriously been so great to me when nobody else was even paying attention. And you're doing it again by trying to help me. So whatever you say about being a bad person, I'm not going to listen because you're like a hero to me.
You got good news?
Oh, I wish I did. Johnny Zacchara is unconscious. Actually, he's in critical condition. So even if you wanted to back up your story, which I would highly doubt, he ain't talking. Claire Walsh was thoughtful enough to come forward with a recording which proves premeditation on your part. There is no indication that John Zacchara had any kind of a weapon or that he threatened you in any way. So, no. Sonny, good news? No, there's no good news here. You are looking at an attempted murder charge with a very iffy shot at bail. No pun intended.
I hate it when you get this defeatist attitude.
Defeatist? All right, well, let's go over the facts,
Okay.
shall we? Since
Yeah.
that's actually all I am able to deal with. You have admitted to shooting Johnny Zacchara and then casually strolling away into the night, leaving the man to die on the sidewalk. Now, you claim it was self-defense, but there is no evidence to corroborate that since Johnny Zacchara was not found with a weapon and he is tested negative for gunshot residue. Then, to tighten the screws just a little more, your favorite federal prosecutor and mine, Claire Walsh, has decided to help the authorities by producing a digital recording of you saying that you plan to, wait for it, plead self-defense after shooting Johnny in cold blood.
I gotta tell you, this time I am innocent. I just gotta find a way to prove it. And it would be nice if my attorney would help me instead of giving me another litany of my sins.
Oh, believe me, I plan to defend you to the very best of my abilities. That's my job. It is also my job to make sure you have a clear perception of where you stand in the eyes of the law.
I understand. Get it done. And just figure out a way to prove that I'm telling the truth. Call Jason. Tell him to put Spinelli to work. There might be a surveillance tape that has Johnny holding a gun.
Spinelli, I can talk to. Jason seems to have disappeared.
What do you mean Jason disappeared?
Well, the last time I saw him, Jason seemed concerned that Sam was going to do something ill-advised in an attempt to help him, and my guess is that's exactly what happened. So now Jason has gone off after Sam, and Sam has disappeared as well.
He's not answering his cell phone?
And his SUV has apparently been abandoned.
It's not like Jason to vanish, at this time.
Okay, well, we don't have the luxury right now, Sonny, of worrying about Jason. You have to think about yourself.
I want to talk to Dante.
No, that's a bad idea.
No.
Dante is a cop who hates you.
Listen, I know that, but he's my son.
Yes, the son that you shot, point blank, in the chest. Does that sound familiar, Sonny? It's the same scenario that you are now in with Johnny. And we in jurisprudence call that a pattern of behavior. The cops use it all the time to trip up criminals. Believe me, Detective Falconeri is the last person you want to be talking to.
You wanted to see me?
Any progress?
Well, I looked over the file. Nothing evidentiary indicates that Johnny was armed.
Johnny had a gun. He pointed it at me, and I shot him in self-defense.
I know that's your story, and you're sticking to it, but there's nothing to back that up. I went to the hospital to question Johnny, but he was unconscious. That was surreal, really, seeing him lying there with the exact same wound I had when you shot me, unarmed.
Totally different situation.
Well, I don't think so. Someone got in your way, you fired first and regretted it later.
You were unarmed. I knew it. I pulled the trigger anyway, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life. But I'm going to tell you again, and I'll tell you again and again and again. Johnny stopped me on the street, pointed a gun right at me, and I shot him in self-defense.
You keep saying that. The problem we have here is that I don't believe you. No, I find myself wanting to believe you. I went to the hospital to question Johnny, hoping he'd back you up. That was wishful thinking, but I thought I'd indulge. Then my mother shows up. This quiet, dignified pain, like she knew the drill. Like she knew she had to stay strong for Johnny. And then I realized it's because she'd been there before. At my bedside, when her son was shot, unarmed, point blank.
Totally different situation.
No,
Totally different situation.
That's only in your mind, is it? You just decided to shoot, once again, a guy who couldn't defend himself. No, I'll never forget the look on your face that day. The coldness in your eyes, the grim resolve, the lack of any emotion whatsoever. All I have to do is think of that day, and I know you could have shot Johnny unarmed without even blinking.
You think I didn't learn anything from shooting you? You're wrong. I learned one of the biggest lessons of my life. I thought I had good reason for killing you that day. It was the right decision for the business. You'd gotten in too far. You knew too much. You were a cop. You were working me, and you were working my family. What I didn't know is that I would end up shooting my own son. And I thank God every day that you survived, even though you hate me. But here's the lesson that I learned. It has to be an even playing field. If there's a man standing in front of you and he's unarmed, it does not mean that he's a threat. He should not be met with lethal force. And I said I would never do that again, and I didn't do it with Johnny. He drew on me. I took my gun out, and I shot him to save my own life. Now I'm asking you to believe me, not as a cop, but as my son.